Dear human, dear soul, I welcome you to my podcast series, Conversations with the Universe. Since a near-death experience, I have the gift to communicate with subtle levels of the cosmos. The knowledge from these for us invisible forms of energy I capture in my books, and it is now a great pleasure for me to share this knowledge, these conversations, with you as a supplement to the books. Please excuse me if the terms and articulations are not perfect. Our mother tongue is German, but we try to translate it to the best of our abilities. Thank you. Dearest King Salomon, what would you like to explain, describe, and talk about concerning the animal world? What would you like to tell the people about animals?
The animals are connected to the cosmic energies just like you are. If the form is big enough, you can also find soul energy in it. This means that you should approach these life forms as if they were people. The difference is only the physical form, but in it there dwells a soul. If you recognize the form as an enlivened form, you should immediately be aware that you have to treat this soul exactly as responsibly and respectfully as all other life. If you break the cosmic laws by mistreating this life form, you will have to deal with the resonances.
But how will a human being know whether a body has a soul or not? Let us recall that friend of the Indians taught us that from about the size of a mouse there is enough of a body for a soul to incarnate, and that from the size of a dolphin it must have a soul. But how does the person know which animal between the size of a mouse and the size of a dolphin has a soul and which one hasn't?
By the movement of the animal. I have mentioned the eye movements before. The way in which a being moves indicates conscious movement or, as the case may be, less conscious, impulsive movement. So if you find in a being conscious and very calmly directed movement, then it is inhibited by a soul.
Let me briefly say that these animals, of course, are still animals. That means that they always have these impulsive movements, but there are moments in which they haven't got them and move very consciously, right?
Right.
Okay. And what about the animals that definitely look as if they were just animals and that haven't got a soul at all?
Your question confuses me. All life forms must be respected and protected. Even if they are not inhabited by a soul, the form still deserves to live.
Apropos deserves to live. If an animal is very, very ill or when it is mishappen, in how far is a human being allowed to interfere and to help the animal? I mean, for example, to put it to sleep or something like that.
The demeanor of the animal will show the human what it wants. If it wishes to live, a conscious human being will recognize this impulse. But if it wishes to die, the human should also feel this impulse and act accordingly. The tools that are available to a human being have to be used responsibly, as you can imagine.
Yes, of course, I can imagine that. That is why I ask. Because at the end of the day, you will take an energetic need for balance on board, even though you wanted to do the right thing by this animal.
That is correct. The animal's energy will communicate the right impulse, never act against it.
This raises the question as to what happens if you do so. Are you then someone whose own free will was used to overpower the free will of another being?
Yes. It means that the energy of the animal then will stay connected with the human until he has brought this imbalance back into balance.
Do you know with all this information, please don't get me wrong, I can actually understand why the people keep talking about guilt and why everything revolves around this question. And all this world actually be an apt description for that which you describe when you talk about energy balance. I mean, an inevitable energy balance. But I don't like the word guilt. What is your take on that?
This word is wrong, Sylvia. This is why I am not using it. And I would ask you not to use this word any further. To be guilty of something suggests negative energy. But if you realize that you have made a mistake, you will immediately get the opportunity to make amends for this mistake. It's completely different if you really feel it.
Yes, that's true. I totally feel it. Maybe it is just that the term guilt has a very negative connotation in our time.
Yes, I would not know.
Okay, fine. I will not ask you any further about this. We learned that it is natural that you can make mistakes. And whatever this means and whatever effect this has in connection to those who have suffered through these actions, you will have to balance it.
Yes.
And you have the chance to balance it. Okay, is there anything about the animals you wish to add?
Yes. Through their connection to the cosmos and at the same time to the nature of your planet, animals are very good teachers. Through their instincts, they feel the energy of the other. They also feel the soul energy, if it lives in that body. Or they feel the physical energy. But all in all, they will feel this potential faster than you do. They live in nature in accordance to this information only. There they feel the energy of the plants in addition to that of the cosmos and nature in general. They see all this together, and you can learn a lot from their way to move through nature.
Apropos, do you know how animals see?
No, but I know how they feel.
Yes, that is a kind of seeing, a kind of perception. So they perceive then. Should we imagine this like in the movie Avatar? Or how does it work? Because that would mean that they could also detect the aura of a person.
Absolutely.
So they perceive the aura of the trees, the aura of the plants, the aura of the earth, the aura of people, the aura of other animals, all these things, all at the same time, and working on connection with each other?
Exactly.
Wow. And they react to that.
Exactly.
I would so like to know what they see.
They see by feeling. They feel all this.
Wow. And they have got a lot better feeling mechanism than we humans. We humans are only driven by our ego feelings.
I would not say it like that, but I know what you mean. You are very influenced by the information that you receive through communication with each other, and you are often distracted by it. The forming of the inner tools which this perception of energy information would give you does not happen to be in your focus.
Yes. Okay, well, back to the animals. They have that and they live accordingly. Of course, there are animals in which these traits are more advanced than in others, depending on whether the animal spends its life in an apartment or in nature, for instance, right?
Right.
And animals do not understand us through words.
No.
But they do understand us through feelings.
Yes.
How can we practice that?
Through connecting to the animals, you can communicate with them.
Yes, but how do I establish the connection?
By concentrating on them and trying to feel them.
Okay, so I'm sitting down, trying to get into a meditative state and concentrate on this animal with which I wish to establish contact. So I'm thinking very strongly of it, right? And then?
Then you should, after a while, you should feel something that is different from what you felt a moment ago when you were only yourself. Now you begin to receive the information this animal is sending out.
I understand. The information that the animal carries, right?
No, is sending out.
Ah, yes. Okay, and then you can talk to it quite well. Well, that is basically a kind of communication, but you cannot have a dialogue with an animal that cannot really think.
Yes, you can communicate via the feelings, as you know.
Yeah, yes, I know, but I want to make it as clear as possible to the persons, to the people, so they can do it. And they know how to do it. It is different with me. I have a different channel for that.
When the people establish a connection to this being, and if they feel something that appears to them to be new, different from before, then they can begin to ask questions, and they will see that communication is then possible.
Okay, I know. I know that it is possible, and now we have established that the others can do this too. Let's see how. Is there anything they should keep in mind?
No.
Okay. And it is a matter of attention and concentration.
Yes.
But we also kill animals in order to eat them. For example, cows or pigs, some of whom may have a soul. The people who do this, do they have to balance this energetically?
No. Mostly they're superiors.
I understand. I talked about this before with a friend of the Indians. Well, is there anything that you would like to tell the people about when an animal dies a natural death? How can the people stay in contact with this animal?
They can do this in the same way that they have communicated with this animal before. The energy of the being remains. It only changes form.
Yes, but many people also shaken by their belief that they cannot do this. For example, because they want to see the animal, touch the animal, and so forth.
Then I advise to take a new animal into the family that can close this gap.
I have heard that, yes. Well, I cannot think of any more questions now. Do you have any?
No.
Then I would like to say thank you for this and looking forward for the next chapter. Thank you, love.
Thank you, Sylvia. Love.